Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Juni's Café, a series where we learn, share, and grow by putting our thoughts into the ether. I'm your host, Juni, and today today we're going to talk about something that I've been kind of avoiding to talk about. I really wanted to make sure that these thoughts were really well put together, and just because it is on a more serious note compared to most of the things I've talked before. So with me to talk about this, I have none other than my friend Sky.
Hi.
Hello. so the Sky, first of all, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. My head is now a peach. It's very interesting.
Yeah. How has your life within after the pandemic, like the lockdown and everything? How has that been?
It's still very interesting. A lot of people are acting like we're not still in a pandemic, so I've been a little bit more hesitant to go out at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to get corona.
No, yeah, that's been my case as well. I've been mostly in lockdown, and mostly just by myself. I live by myself. And it's just been like, okay, well, I'm just gonna be alone. So I actually messaged you to, I contacted you so that we can do an episode, and so that we could talk about the recent I say recent, but this happened like around December, so like relatively recent, but not like literally just happened, events that happened with Omnipony, or as we knew him, James. So before so just for anyone who's like not in the loop, Omnipony was he's still alive, a My Little Pony music remixer. So he would make remixes of My Little Pony songs, and then of course he would like release his own stuff and make lots of like cartoon and animated like remixes and all that type of like EDM. It would be mostly EDM. It was a lot of EDM actually. And we knew him as James because we went to high school with him. At least I went to high school with him for like my last year, senior year, because he came in like my last year, just for that 1 year. But we were pretty close friends, at least from my perspective. What would you say your relationship was with him? Or
My relationship was definitely interesting. He was a senior while I was a freshman, so I was probably 14, 15. He was around 17, 18. So the fact that I brought up age is something sus already.
yeah.
But he was originally one of my first friends coming into our high school. Like, I didn't know anyone, and he did basically introduce me to the LGBT community. I mean, you did too. But he was like, hey, yo, there's a gay club, let's go. Like,
yeah.
He like pulled my arm and you're coming with me.
Yeah. And like, this is something that I really just want to preface. Like, we're coming, like, when I want to speak about this, it's like, I want to just speak about our experiences with him and that stuff. So, and I don't mean to like devalue any person that he's hurt, but I do hope to like get a better understanding of like, and I hope that people are able to get a better understanding of like what may have happened before, or what may like things that did occur while we did know him, throughout like our personal experiences, right?
Because the incident happened maybe a year after we knew him, because she said he was with her, or them, sorry, pronouns, um, while they were 19, 20. So
Um,
not even.
James was 1920.
Yeah.
The person
Was
was 12 to
14.
13.
Oh, even younger. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Um, were you surprised?
In all honesty, no, because of my relations with James when we were in high school. Um, the age, that was definitely like a big hit. I would get maybe 15, 16, but that young,
Yeah.
it
Like,
definitely makes me look back at our history I had with him in a different view.
yeah, that's similar to what I was thinking. I was like, because I know that back when we were in high school and he was a senior, like hitting up freshman, I was like, that's like a little, like, I thought that was like a little sketch, but I was like, you know what, I'm sure that, well, I guess in my head, I tried to sort of, um, like make excuses for it because like it was all within high school, but at the same time, like he was 18, you know?
Yeah, but like in our school, it was so normalized for freshmen to be with seniors. Like when
Yeah.
I had come out about our sexual relations, people were like, "Oh my goodness, like that's so cool." Like, but it's not though.
Yeah. It's yeah, and also just full disclosure, on my senior year, I did actually end up dating a freshman. I didn't know he was a freshman until like I think we did it for like maybe a month, and we didn't do anything sexual.
You guys are so
Um,
shy.
yeah, we were. I will. Yeah, I mean, at the time I had just like recently like come out, and like I'm pretty sure he was like still in the closet or something. I don't remember. Um, he was. I think he was like 15 or something. I don't remember, and I was like 17. See, the thing is, like, I was never 18 dating a no 14-year-old. You know. Um, but so like I think the age gap was smaller in my case, um, but the grade gap like was the same. Um, but like we didn't really end up doing anything, and then we ended up breaking up because honestly, like, it was literally one of those things where it was like we're the only two. Well, we're one of the only few single like MLM people at the time. I identified as a man that liked men. Um, so that was, just like full disclosure before, like, you're like, well, you did the same. No, it's not the same. Let's just put that out there that it's not the same thing.
No. And there was like a very big drastic difference between you and him and what happened with me and James.
Yes. So you had a like 4-year like age gap. How um how was your like interaction with like getting to know him? And if I can ask, like, when, like, how long after you like started to know him did you feel like you were like did you feel like you were beginning to like start to get like sexual?
It was probably still the first semester of school that we had gotten sexual. I don't really remember the build up to it just because it has been so long. But I remember it started with me sending pictures. I don't remember if he had requested them, asked for them, but he definitely was approving of them when they were sent. And it was just this really high buildup of like pictures, we're sexting, until we actually did, the actual act, which in my case, I remember it being like a little bit colder, so probably between December and February. And I wouldn't have turned 15 until February. So I was still 14 around that time.
Yeah. Damn, that's really wild to think about. I know that there were other instances when he did try to be with other people that were around your age,
Oh yeah,
or like freshmen.
he dated
I'm
one of the freshmen, and I remember their breakup being awful. I don't remember what happened, but I remember that individual telling me that they were just straight up uncomfortable with the sexual advances that James was trying to put forward.
yeah, I. I just, I don't know. I've been like, ever since I'll be quite honest. Ever since I found out, I've just been like, really disappointed, and like really, like upset. Not surprised or shocked, just really disappointed. Um, like because it's like, I was talking to another one of our friends that was part of our friend group, and they said, honestly, James has always been like kind of predatory. And like I was like, yeah, but like, yes, you're not wrong, but like it kind of sucks that that's true, because that means that I befriended someone and I trusted someone, and I was close to someone that was predatory. Hey guys, it's Juni. I'm currently editing this, and I just wanted to add really quick about something that me and Sky forgot to bring up during this recording, that we remembered right after we finished recording, and it was actually about the type of people that we noticed James was dating while we knew him. Now, obviously, we can't speak for his experiences before he was part of our lives. But while we did know him, we did know that he primarily flirted and interacted with people who looked relatively younger than, like relatively young. Sky, for example, was like short and very baby faced. Most of the people um, that he was flirting with or interacting with looked younger than they were. Myself, at the time, I was 17 and I looked younger than I was. And I know that one of the people that we mentioned was a freshman and looked younger than even that. This is, while it's, completely valid to have a type, after me and Sky noticed that, we did feel like it was at least very relevant to bring up to the conversation, because, well, yes, it can definitely be some sort of type thing. Like, yes, I like people who are, I don't know, like, I don't know. It just, I guess we felt like it was just something that was really interesting, that looking back at it now, it is something that we kind of just like let slide, and it was definitely a red flag that we that at the time we didn't really pay attention to. Anyway, I'll with that information out of the way, I'll let you be off and continue with the episode. Thank you. Funny thing, like, he messaged me on Telegram. I randomly downloaded Telegram. I don't remember why, because like I don't know another single person that uses it, and I don't remember why I downloaded it in the first place. But he messaged me on there, and he started like hitting me up, and I was like, oh my god, it's really nice to see you. We started like having a conversation. We was like, we haven't talked in a while, and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry that I drifted. We've been busy, and he was like, yeah, I totally get it. After we graduated high school, like it happens, but I'm glad that we're able to talk again. And I was like, yeah, it felt good to talk to him again. And of course, let's be quite honest, he started getting really flirtatious in the way that he always does. So he started getting like really sexual. So like every other comment was like kind of like sexual. But I thought in my head, I was like, okay, yeah, that's just the way he is with his friends. Like, he's only doing it with me because I'm okay with it. Like, he wouldn't do with someone else that wouldn't be okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I processed it, because I was okay with those comments, because my friends can make those comments to me and that's fine.
That was really
So
like our whole friend group in high school, though. We all had that like weird sexual tension that we could like make sexual jokes, mess around with each other. That was our almost our entire friend group at that time.
yeah, and I think that's why we didn't really notice any. I feel like, at least for me, that's why I didn't really notice, like, the the like the predatory like tensions that James may have had, because because like, we were all very sexually positive, and we would just like, be really, let's be quite honest, everyone, not to like put anyone on blast or anything, but a lot of the people within the group had relations with each other, like amongst each other, and it was like a really, like, like, it's a really interesting cluster. But I never slept with anyone. I never slept with a single person within the group. I didn't sleep with anyone until after I graduated high school, and it wasn't with anyone within that group, which I'm kind of glad I did. Like, I didn't have any sort of relationships while I was in high school. So, like, I don't regret that. But I do remember that towards the end, I almost did end up doing something with Omni. And it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was supposed to be like, in, like, actually, like, while still in school, and we ended up not it was just not, it's just one of those things that I'm like, I'm glad that it was just that we were young and stupid and we didn't end up doing anything, because honestly, I would have, if I had looked back at it and I was like, damn, I ended up doing some stuff with someone who's like predatory, I would have felt really bad about myself. Not that you should feel bad about yourself, but like, I don't know, I'm glad that it didn't happen, because at the same time I was also very immature, and I was wanting sexual validation purely for the validation aspect of it, not because it was him. It was because it was anyone. So as soon as I graduated high school, I actually went into like a hoe phase, and like, it was like, I need to be loved, but in all the wrong ways.
Like, looking back at it, I had sexual relations at his home, but he would tell me stories of him having sexual relations actually at school. That he would have these spots he would know of to, do whatever with people. And I remember him talking about this while he was dating that other freshman. Again, I don't know if anything happened between them, but that's already very sus. And the fact that he's telling me, another freshman, that he had already had sexual encounters with, that he has all these spots, it was very uncomfortable. Looking at it now, it was very uncomfortable. Looking at it at my 14-year-old's eyes, it was like, whoa, this guy has experience, this is really cool. And like, he was my friend. It was just interesting.
Yeah. I remember this one time with one of our friends who at the time identified as asexual. I don't know if they still do identify as asexual. But they started dating, and like, I remember, I don't know how it came up, but like, obviously, like, if this person's asexual, and like, James is, hypersexual, like, one of them was gonna like be, not like content. And now, I'm not saying that asexual people can't have sex, but I did find it interesting that, like, my friend who at the time identified as asexual, was, just like, okay, well, I had sex with James, and I was like, oh, okay, were you like, was that because you wanted, or because like, that's something that I just kept thinking about. I was like, was it because you wanted to, and like because you were eager to do that, or because because James was like, oh, like trying just to do, like, I don't know. I guess I just think about ever since like he admit, because the thing is, it's not like these are allegations. It's not like this is like some random person like saying something. This is just, it happened. It straight up happened. This is real. Like, there's just no denying the fact that he tried to groom a minor. Like, we're not gonna excuse this. We're not gonna be like, well, he's still a nice person. Like, well, he he groomed a minor, and like that makes him a pedophile.
Like, looking back, I don't remember much of his personality. It was mostly the drama with him being with other people, the sexual encounters I had, everything about him was sexual. Even when he described his sexuality to me, he just straight up said, it means I can pork anyone.
Oh yeah, when he was talking about how he was pansexual.
Omnisexual.
Omnisexual. Oh, yes. He was omnisexual because he was omni. Oh, yeah, that's clever. I did forget that he identified as omnisexual. I think it was funny how he identified as omnisexual, but he was always wearing like an asexual shirt. Like, I don't know if you remember that.
A flag as a button, didn't he?
Or something like that. Like, yeah, I think he had like I don't know what it was. He was like, yeah, like, I just really like the colors for the asexual flag or something. And it was like, oh, okay, like, that's valid. I think the asexual flag colors are beautiful, but it was a little misleading. I thought that you were ace.
Definitely not ace.
Definitely not ace. And that did throw me for a loop. Do you, in your honest opinion, do you think that, because were you and him friends after we graduated, like, my graduating class with him?
As soon as we graduated, all contact had just cut off. We didn't talk at all. I did have his kick for a while, but I remember our friendship not ending in such good terms because he was dating someone I was in love with, and high school drama, I hate you now, whatever.
Oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Oh my god. This is like, okay, so like, people listening to this, just keep in mind that I graduated 4 or 5 years ago. So like, these events that occurred was like 5 to 6 years ago, because it was like my senior year, right? And so like, it was just, so like, if some of these like memories are a little foggy, like, just please excuse me.
And if we miss any details or maybe exaggerate on something, again, it has been a long time. We're just recalling it as we go on.
Yeah. But this was, like, these things that did happen like right before the events that happened with like this person that came out to expose James. So like, the thing is, like, around, he said it was like around 2017, but I'm pretty sure they were in a relationship in 2017, were they not? I don't remember. I wasn't talking to them, but I think they were.
Yeah, I believe they were, because I remember, and sorry if I'm wrong, but I remember that individual coming back to me saying that, like, they had taken James's phone and found out they were talking to another individual. And that's when they finally fizzled out the relationship. I don't know what happened after. I don't know the individual he was talking to at the moment, but he definitely was not being faithful in that relationship. And the timeline is making it seem as if it was that minor, the individual he was talking to.
See, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but I also feel like it literally could have been anyone else.
Yeah,
Mostly because I do know that that was already a thing that he did back in high school with one of the relationships that he had um, with with one of our friends. Um, do you feel like you could forgive him? I know it's not our place to forgive him, but do you feel like you could? So I guess not forgive him, but like, do you feel like you could be friends with him again?
I only forgive my situation. I don't forgive
Yeah.
him for the situation he put the other individual in. He should have known better. He knows that he's
Mm-hmm.
a full grown adult. This person is barely a teen at this point in moment. And it happened for years. It wasn't just this is a one instance. No, it happened for years. That he was pressuring
Mm-hmm.
this individual. And I don't think I could ever forgive him for that. Even if he does come out from rehab, again, if he is, that's still an event that happened.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna have to build up trust with me or with the whole community if he ever wants to like rebound from this, but I think he's just gonna stay in the dark.
Yeah, I think that's sort of how I feel. Like, that's because I think with like the situation, like he really did. Like, I don't know. I guess he really. Not only did he like abuse someone's trust, this person, at the time the minor, right? Um, but also, like the people that were close to him that trusted him to like be someone that wasn't a total asshole, or that wasn't someone that was predatory, especially because there were people around his life who had already gone through many things that were, traumatic, and I think that would make it really easy on him. Also, I'm sorry if you hear my cat screaming in the background.
She was super cute. It's okay.
Yeah, I locked the door so that she wouldn't get in, but she is just being very loud.
Please pay attention to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, do you remember your initial reaction when you heard, or when you read the tweets of him admitting to this? Well, I know I sent it to you recently.
Yeah, I just found out about the situation recently. I didn't know when it had happened, but reading his apology, it did sound like James, but I didn't really see it as an apology. It was just filled with a lot of self-blame. And then he pointed out to the audience saying, oh, if you have this problem too, you should go do something about it. Which I don't think that line was really needed, especially if this was a quote-unquote an apology. That just felt more attacking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I didn't really see it much as an apology. It just didn't give that vibe to me. It was just, I'm going to put out this quick vent about how I feel about myself. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, because one of the things that he mentioned was hypersexuality. And I feel like, just to be quite honest, there's a lot of things that people don't understand about hypersexuality, and there's a lot of things that I don't understand about hypersexuality. So like, I'm not really gonna want to comment on that and be like, well, if he really was, no, I'm not really gonna, no, if he says he's hypersexual, I'm gonna believe him on that, because that's fine. Like, I think that's valid if like there's problems going on with that because he's hypersexual. Like, it's valid. What's not valid is like, would be to like be like, oh, I guess to
Like, try to put the blame
like,
on it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like be like, okay, well, the reason why I ended up grooming a child was because I'm hypersexual or something.
Which is
mm,
not the case for anyone listening. I've
no.
been with several people who have a very high libido, um, and I've never really had issues with children or cheating, period. Um, I don't know why he brought that up as an excuse. That just kind of ruins like other people's image of other people, you know?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that sort of kind of, I'll be quite honest, it kind of did paint a picture of, and I don't know if maybe that was his intention, but it did paint a picture of, well, like, if you suffer from hypersexuality, then you should also look into that because you might be a pedophile. And like, sure, maybe if you're hypersexual, you may be inclined to these like bad tendencies, and you should get help for that. Um, but I don't know. I feel like, again, I don't really know. I don't know that much about hypersexuality. I know a lot about a lot of a lot of different mental health stuff. I can't say that I'm like the most well versed uh on hypersexuality in and of itself, but like it was like, oh, you like, I guess it kind of like conflicted pedophilia with hypersexuality a little bit,
Yeah.
even though that may not have been his intention. And I think that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, and it kind of just, you know, it made me feel sad. Um, it also made me feel sad because I really felt like I lost a friend, but at the same time, I didn't really feel. I was like, honestly, like I don't want to be associated with someone who would do stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also I feel worse for the person that was involved.
But I
Do
think
you?
it's about time to bring up the smut chat that we had.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
So, okay, around, because I know that you brought up how you still had his kick or something. Back when kick was a thing. Back
Kick was
when
never
kick
good.
was a thing. This was 2016. I was. This was when we were still in high school and we were all minors except James.
James.
Um, I ran the GSA club. Um, and we and like we had a kick group chat for the GSA, and separate to that, I know that there were some people that wanted to like be flirtatious and like flirt with each other and like make more lewd comments. And I, at the time, I was like, well, I do really want to make a. Oh, I think there were some people that. Oh, I remember. I remember what happened actually. There's this one person who really wanted to share their smutty fan art. um, and I was like, okay, well, we would love to see it because it's smutty fan art, and I don't remember what the show was about, but I was like, okay, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a separate group chat, and then you can share your fan art with us. That way we don't make other people uncomfortable that don't want to see that, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
this was like everyone had consented to being in this chat. Everyone interacted with this chat, and it was just close individuals. It wasn't just the whole club were out there all naked and silly.
yes, exactly. So I made that separate group chat so this person could share their fan art with us, and it like they did, and it was like, okay, great, love that. After a while, it kind of like it did become more flirtatious, and people got more risque. I don't
I remember
recall.
specifically we had censored anything that was private, anything that were for females. We were to censor our nipples. Like we still
Mm-hmm.
tried to kept it not as nudie as a nude would be. Um,
Yeah, I do remember that it was a place that we were able to talk about like sexual things that we were curious about because again, we were minors and sexual education at the time was really poor.
mhm.
So I think it was a really nice place for us to be able to talk about those kinds of things. And if we wanted to share like a lewd image or like dirty art or whatever, quote unquote dirty art, because no art is dirty or whatever the fuck, right? uh, but like if we wanted to share some like sexual art or a lewd image, we would be able to do that because even though, by the way, if you're a minor, please don't share lewd images or sexual images out onto the internet. I'm just gonna like put that out there. This is what happened at the time. I do not recommend it. I was a minor. We were all minors. This is what
We were
happened
exploring our
then.
sexuality. Just
Yes, this is what happened then. This is not what I'm gonna recommend for people to do now. Also, it was cake. um, so that's what we did. Now, at the time, James was also part of this group shot, and I
as an adult.
forgot that he was 18. I'll be quite honest. I really did forget he was 18. I forgot he was 18 until like recently. Like, I mean, at the time, I forgot that he was older than me. And so like this whole time that he was on there, he was 18. I don't think, again, I truly don't think that there were any like nudes or dirty images that were sent. But it was a like a place for. Do you remember anything like that may have stood out to you from that time?
No specific comments that he had made, but I remember him being very active in the chat. If like someone something at 2 o'clock in the morning, he was already opening the post and making a comment on it. And I remember my partner at the time, who was female to male. He was actually 15 at the time because he was older than me, just by a few months, not drastic. After him and I had sent some pictures, he messaged us privately asking for a threesome. Mind you, my partner is 15, I was 14, and James was 18. And I don't remember where that discussion ended up, especially because my partner was not very comfortable being with a cis male. That was just not their preference. But I do remember that James's sexual intentions towards me didn't stop, though. Especially because at that time, him and I had already hooked up.
Yeah. I don't know, it just doesn't really surprise me. Again, these are, I need to like reiterate because like these are just experiences that occurred. The thing is, I want to say like he may be different now, but like we know, like based on like how he is now, like we don't really know like that he changed. Like, yeah, sure, he's going to rehab, but like I don't know, like I want to believe that people change, but like also like this is just something too serious for me to be like, oh well, people change, like, oh well, people are, sexual predators, they change. Like, no, I don't want to like just sweep that under the rug.
Yeah,
like this is something
we're
that
not like validating the victims either.
Exactly, because like this is some serious shit, and like this is something that bothers me. And also, let's be quite honest, like there's like this, there's thing going on, and this thing that's been going on is like or like all bronies fucking pedophiles or all bronies perverts. And like I don't want to say yes, but like I don't know what was up with that fandom, which by the way, when I was 14, I was really deep into being a brony. I was like brony, like hardcore. I was like really into My Little Pony. I thought it was cute and adorable. And then by the time I turned 17, I thought I still liked My Little Pony. I was just casually into it. And then I met James, and he told me that he was like Omnipony, and I didn't really know who Omnipony was because like
Yeah.
I only knew like a few My Little Pony music mixers. like people, and he wasn't one of them. But he told me about it, and I was like, oh shit, like I should have been knowing about you, but I guess I didn't. Um, and like that's how he kind of told me about that, and I know that when I found out this news, it was actually from like the My Little Pony community, who was like, damn, like the MLP fandom is just really going downhill. Like all of these people who were big in the fandom are just perverts now. And like honestly, like he's the only person that I know from the fandom who like did this. I don't know anyone else because I'm not associated with anyone else. I don't know anyone else. I wasn't close to anyone else from that fandom. But I did know James. And I can speak on my relationship with James and like what I do know about him, and I can say that this is just not surprising to me. Even though I did really care about him, even though I did really like want to be his friend. Like I guess I'll be quite honest, one of my concern is that people will be like, oh, they're just doing this because like they're being petty because they obviously have a thing in for James. But honestly, I just think it's something that needs to be talked, because I think, first of all, to like help me process the fact that he did this, but also because I feel like it needs to be talked about. Like, why were there so many perverts in the My Little Pony community? A show that was meant for children.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, I do have another perspective to the story, because again, I was a minor, just like the 12-year-old. I was a minor at the time, but we did do physical things, pushing that level even further than just talking about it or sharing pictures.
Yeah. Did he ever send pictures to you?
I believed he did. I can't 100% tell you that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. But no, I do remember like a lot of the sexting he would say, like he would make me submissive, or that like he'll make me scream, you know, stuff you really shouldn't be saying to a 14-year-old, even if you are saying them like that. It was just, looking back at it, like, looking back, I don't know why I normalized it so much at that time. And even he did too, because he was bragging about our sexual relations to a mutual friend of ours who got hurt by it, but also he was an adult.
Oh god, like that whole, I think about that a lot, and I just think that it was so messy. That was so messy.
They were talking about sharing me. So these two adults talking about
were
sharing.
Were they both 18?
14-year-old. Yeah, I think they were.
I think the other one may have been 17.
17
or
or
around
18,
my age.
yeah.
Huh. Still weird. And still, like, coming from two cis men, it's just I mean, just coming from anyone really, it's just weird being like objectifying you, like, just where's your voice and, you know, like, controlling the situation. Like did you mention that you wanted to like be in a threesome? Also, why would you? I don't know, like, you were 14.
I actually sent pictures to one of the males, not James, and he shared it with James, who was sitting right beside him. Already a red flag. And that's when they started bringing up that idea.
I'm really sorry that happened to you. Let me just say that now. Like, when did you, or if, like, when did you realize that, like, those things that were happening, or that happened, like, were bad? Or, like, when did you, like, at what point did you look back and was like, damn, all that shit was kind of fucked up?
It would probably have to be my sophomore year, because my sophomore year I got involved with another senior. Red flags everywhere. And it was not a consensual moment at all. I actually went to the police and they were talking about his age. And I remember that being weird. I was like, why does his age matter? It mattered because he was almost 18 at that time. And thinking about that, I was looking back at all these instances where I was with 18-year-olds and a year younger than I was at that time. And I was like, whoa, why did I brag about it? Why did they brag about it? And why did we all normalize this? We're like, oh, freshmen sleep with seniors. Seniors are always messing with freshmen. Our whole school normalized it. They didn't see age. They just saw,
Yeah, but like, and then like, it really did. Our school did really normalize that, and I think it just made it. I'll be quite honest. I feel like a part of it did make it easier for like. I'm not saying that like, let's blame it on the school and like the way that our school normalized it. Let's blame that, and that's the reason why James did what he did. But it made it easier for him to validate that, or to be able to, because like no one was telling him no. There wasn't anyone who was like, like, because when you were 14 and he was 18, so it was like, oh well, we were like, no one really said anything about it, and then so like it was just, oh well, what's a 13-year-old, like at that point. Like, not saying that like that's like okay, but like I think like for someone who's like already like dating someone who has like a 4-year age gap, like a 6-year age gap isn't like in comparison.
It's not drastic, yeah.
Yeah. You haven't heard, like, when was the last time you talked to him?
It would have had to be before graduation, because again, dating someone I had loved ruined the friendship period. I did continue talking to that person that he was dating, but they didn't really mention much about Omni, just that, found out he was cheating and they finally broke it up. But other than that, I haven't heard anything from him until you reached out to me recently telling me what had happened.
Yeah. Okay. So, one last question. Is there, well, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say to the person that came out with this information? Like the victim. Or any other victims that may have been affected by him.
I commend you for identifying this toxic situation as soon as you could. I clearly couldn't, and I do somewhat blame myself. I know it's not my fault, but I do somewhat blame myself for not telling anyone or coming out with my story earlier to help prevent people in the future. So I do commend you on that, especially because I know it's hard coming out with your story. You're gonna get a lot of backlash, even though you didn't do anything wrong. Just know that you are a brave individual. You did everything right, and I hope you're doing okay.
Thank you. That was really well put. So I think now would be a good stopping point. But before we end, is there anything that you would like to promote, or anything like any like organization or social media that you would like to share, or anything like that?
Oh my goodness, you put me on the spot. If only I still knew like all the LGBT organizations.
Oh no, like I mean like just like anything that you're working on or anything that you want to promote.
Adopt, don't shop. There's always animals looking for homes. You can find them at Cats. You can find them at Special Pals on West Green. I'm probably wrong. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, if you're ever feeling lonely or depressed, go adopt a dog. I mean, my dog saved my life, so why not?
Oh, I love that. That's great. Okay, yeah. I'll make sure to leave some that's great advice. I'll also make sure to leave some links to some sexual abuse hotlines as well below, and definitely definitely reach out for help. And thank you all so much for listening. I know that this was um, more of a slightly serious topic. I hope that we didn't bring your mood too down, but I do think it was something important to talk about, especially coming from people who actually were in his life. If you do like this video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and then turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload new content. And then, of course, just don't forget to reach out for help. I love you guys so much. Bye bye.